Okay, so that was obviously our take on the Super Bowl. As you see, a very spirited debate, and that's kind of what you're going to get from us. You're going to get some depth, some perspective, and again, we're friends, and like I said in the beginning, kind of reminding you of the sports talks that you have with your friends, and you kind of get into the same thing where it gets a little, intense, but, that's the beauty of it, and that's why we're bringing this to you. Yeah,
and if we just agree on everything for an hour, it's going to be very boring. But one thing that the listeners and viewers should know about, personally about the both of us, my name is Jaymes Peckham. His name is Tyrone Foster. His middle name actually starts with which letter? It actually starts with the letter L, which is what he indeed just took in that little segment that we did there. So we're going to move along to our quick hits. So quick hits are going to be our quick segments. We're not going to go as in depth. It's going to be quick questions, and we'll offer 3 to 5 minute debates or opinions on each topic. So we have 3 topics for you today. The first one is going to be the Winter Olympics. Are you in or are you out on the Winter Olympics? I've had somebody in the past tell me that the Winter Olympics are just 14 different types of sliding. So is that something that you're interested in, or are you completely out on the Winter Olympics?
I wholeheartedly agree, and I think that they should change the names of the Winter Olympics to 14 types of sliding, because that's exactly what it is. And I am very much out on the Winter Olympics.
So I am in on the Winter Olympics. There is no other time where you can watch useless sports. You can watch these athletes. Curling is the god. There's no other time where you can watch these sports that would never be on the TV otherwise. Curling's never on TV. Maybe you get like alpine skiing on like Fox at 1 o'clock on a random like Sunday when the Pats aren't on or something. We'll get like Lindsey Vonn skiing down a hill and crashing. But that's like once every, 6 months. I'm very much in on the Winter Olympics. I was telling one of my friends today that when I was about 10 years old, I remember getting a letter from like the U.S. like Olympic Federation, and it was like they were trying to recruit kids for bobsledding and like luge. I was all in on it. My mom threw the shit out. She wanted nothing to do with my greatness. Like, she wanted me to stay in the projects and not become like a pro luger. Like, that's kind of a funny play on words there, pro luger, or the king of the bobsled. But I was like hurt by that. Like, I wanted an opportunity to showcase what I had. And I think the Olympics are needed. I like the Winter Olympics. It's always the same year as the World Cup, so it's a nice little pick me up after the NFL season. I get to watch some Olympics and get into basketball, and especially this year I'm happy about, because the dog days of summer when it's only baseball are kind of tough for me. It's tough just every day watching like your loser Mets or like my Red Sox every single day at like 1 p.m. Wednesday starts. I'm a baseball guy, but I hate only having one option. So the Winter Olympics, I think they're great politically. Kim Jong-sung, or whatever his name is now making it all about North Korea, even though the Olympics are in South Korea. He is a genius. This man is offering the South Korean prime minister or president to come up to the capital of North Korea and meet with one another. This man has, I think...
Is that safe?
He has like, I think he brought like 1,000 cheerleaders, and it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Imagine just sections of 40 North Korean women, all dressed in red, just singing unity songs during every event. They were singing unity songs at speed skating yesterday, which, by the way, you have to be in on Winter Olympics because speed skating is the coolest shit I've ever seen. Short track, though. It's a bunch of people skating around real fast, and there's always a crash, and someone always gets hurt. It's the best. I can do without like the biathlon where like people are like shooting and then like cross country skiing, but like there's a lot of the sports that I'm in on. But this guy Kim Jong-sung, I love. Like I think he is the worst man in the world, but I think what he's doing is hilarious. Like bringing people in to sing these unity songs as like propaganda and make people think that like it's making people think like, hey, maybe he's not that bad. And like next week we're gonna hear a story about like he fed his cousin to like a pack of dogs because like I don't know he bit his Kit Kat instead of like breaking it apart.
So has Russia still been not allowed to participate because they have the
no, they're in it, program? But. It's the most ridiculous thing. I'm on board. Have you watched that documentary, Icarus?
No.
Watch it, Netflix. It's Icarus. It's about the Russian doping scandal. The athletes are I'm so confused because the athletes are participating. They're not participating under the Russian flag. They're participating as Olympic athletes from Russia. So it says OAR. Yeah, and it's the Olympic flag instead of the Russian flag. Like, but they're still all participating. So I don't really. It's like a slap in the wrist to Russia, but not really the athletes. Yeah. I can't imagine that the athletes that got caught doping are allowed to participate. But
I'm a fan of PED, so I'm here for the doping. You know, put it in the Olympics. Let's do it.
So Icarus is about a guy who's trying to move up the ranks in bicycling. And he's from America, and he gets in touch. No, it's not Lance. No, and he gets in touch with one of the top dogs in Russia on how to do it, and the guy coaches him and teaches him everything. And the whole documentary takes a different turn from what they thought it was going to be, and it's incredible. It's on Netflix. It's definitely something you should look
Icarus?
into. Yep,
yeah,
Icarus.
Check it out. On to the next quick hit. So I actually changed my opinion on this the more I got to sleep on it. So. There was a college recruit out of Pensacola who was...
Shout out Roy Jones Jr.
How we do nowadays where you make your announcements in this, big song and dance. The athlete was choosing between Alabama, the University of Tennessee, and Florida. And so the scene is wild because the mom has on a Bama sweater and a Tennessee hat. Now... When it came down to him making his decision, he chose to stay home and go to Florida. And the mom immediately gets up, grabs her bag, and is like, I'm out. Now, we've seen this a few other times before where, parents just tend to be super fans of a certain team or, have a dog in the race. And I don't know if that's just, for the payola or what. But I think that says a lot about where we are with collegiate sports that... When we saw that initially, or when a lot of people saw that, they were throwing a lot of shade at the mom because they're like, obviously, you're probably getting paid by one of these teams, and that's why you're mad because you're getting the less end of the deal. I couldn't find out where I heard this from, but I did hear something that maybe changes the perspective a bit. Where I guess they were saying that the kid has kind of gotten into trouble a lot.
Okay.
And that the mom left because she wanted him to go somewhere else, as evidenced by the fact that she's wearing everything but Florida stuff. And so from her vantage point, she wanted him to kind of get out of Florida, go somewhere else, and just be able to stay out of trouble. And so I can agree with that. But I guess, and that's... why context matters and, why you do kind of need the whole picture before you can really judge a thing. But
I like jumping into things without the context. I think it produces better takes.
I agree. But, I mean, if the payola wasn't right, then, Florida has to step their game up. New coach, I'm sure the Boosters got the stash hiding.
Boosters, by the way, the best people in the world.
Yes.
They're just rich people that give their money for, their college team to be successful.
Yeah. Pay the athletes, by the way.
My take on this, I love this move by the mom. I wish you didn't tell me that stuff about him getting in trouble.
I don't know. I couldn't find it, so I don't know if it's true. I don't remember where I found it.
So my opinion was that she wanted him to leave because either he's an A1 asshole at home, or she was like, fuck yeah, I'm about to just sit down on the couch in my robe, naked, drinking wine, watching Power, not having to worry about my son walk by. I just want to do me, and it's finally time. I'm getting this little man out of the house. It's time for me to shine.
Right. Yeah. He's gonna be coming home now.
Yeah.
He's gonna be close.
And now she's fuck. 18 years. I thought I was gonna get a little 3-year break, and now he's fucking coming back. So that was my take on that. I feel like it was mainly about her, but I guess you ruined that for me. I guess
I mean,
she's, nervous about his well-being.
I think we can go with the story that we wanted it to be.
Yeah, the Robe and the Power.
Okay. Robe and Power.
What kind of glass of wine do you think she'd be drinking? I think she seemed like a White Zinfandel kind of woman to me.
Definitely.
Little box Francia White Zin. So the last quick hit of the night is actually going to be something that's occurring probably as we speak. Paul Pierce, Celtics legend, called by Robert Parrish the best offensive Celtic of all time. Played 19 seasons in the NBA, 15 of them with the Celtics, 10-time All-Star, over 24,000 points, is getting his beloved number 34 jersey sent to the rafters tonight at the TD Garden. What's your opinion on this? What's your opinion on the whole charade around it? Him wanting this to just be his night, and the fact that they didn't do it at halftime, they actually did it after the game for him, so there was more time.
As Shaq would go on to say, and wound up giving him his nickname, he's the truth. He put on for this legendary franchise during the dog years when it was rough. And
I see what you did there, the dog years and then rough. I like that.
I'm here every week. But definitely a great player, Hall of Famer, Celtics legend. Again, for me, I don't know where everyone wants to rank him in terms of Celtics great, but I think he deserves to be in the top 5. I mean, I know that leaves out a lot of amazing people, but I know that he only, ended up with one title where, the Celtics are known for titles that they produce, but I think his entire body of work and what he did, putting on for Boston, being an LA guy at that, and really kind of revolutionized the sport, the 3 position. And I was talking to you before, and I was saying that, he got a lot of flack for it, but he's right to want his night to be about him. No shade to IT, but as Rondo said, he didn't win a title. Yes, I know he had the thing with his sister and bringing the Celtics all the way to
the conference championship.
Long day. But I mean, yes, give him his tribute video, but don't do it like this is Paul Pierce's night and that's all it needs to be. He is, again, you're celebrating his career, what he's done for you, the fact that he's allowed you to get back into the spotlight, and he needs his own night. And just happy to have watched him play. I was thinking about this the other day, just that in us getting old and all the people that we grew up watching, they're retiring, and it's just like this new crop. And when you see the Paul Pierces retire and Vince Carter, whenever that finally ends, but even with football, just as we were kind of saying before, thinking about Patriots without Tom Brady or the NFL without Tom Brady, it's just, I think it makes you appreciate more guys that were there when you were growing up and that really contributed to you really loving the sport.
I agree with everything you said. I think for me, Paul Pierce is like my all-time favorite player. I remember the first time I watched him play, November 7th, 2001, against Michael Jordan and the Washington Wizards. It was my first NBA game. Got to go see the GOAT perform. I think Jordan scored 20 points that game, but this number 34 and number 8 kept catching my eye. These two guys couldn't miss, and they were incredible. And, later on in life, I came to realize it's Antoine Walker, who now weighs 400 pounds. That's beside the point. And Paul Pierce, who is going to be a first ballot NBA Hall of Famer. He's a guy that, is the reason why I support Kansas men's basketball. Yeah. You see this guy, the way he plays, and you're like, where'd he go to college? What led him here? And I went to so many Celtics games in the past. I have, all his jerseys. I've got the Inglewood High School jersey, the Kansas college jersey, and then a few of his pro jerseys. And I'm glad that they reserved this night for him. Quick piece here. How didn't the NBA schedule a game on March 4th so it could be like Paul Pierce night, like 3-4? Yeah. That's just like something that seems simple that probably wouldn't have been too hard because I'm pretty sure that day is like a Saturday anyways. Mm-hmm. So it could have been a primetime opportunity. But, that's besides the fact. I think Paul Pierce is definitely a top 5 Celtic all time. He did revolutionize the 3 position, and at the end of the games, I was always comforted knowing that if there was, a last shot that had to be taken, Paul Pierce was going to get the ball, he was going to bring it to the elbow, and he was going to shoot a fadeaway. And most times it's going to go in. And like Shaquille O'Neal said after a game, that man, Paul Pierce, that man is the fucking truth. And the nickname stuck, and I'm glad that he's getting his jersey retired up there with all the other greats. And, modern times, I say this, based on how old I am, he's the best Celtic in the past 20 years, and that's not even, debatable. You could say Kevin Garnett and whatnot, but he really wasn't. He's a Timberwolf at heart. Mm-hmm. But I think it's well-deserved. Congrats to the Truth. Congrats to Paul Pierce. I hope he enjoys his night.
Yes. So before we get out, obviously got to do some shout-outs. Shout out to my man Alex here for, putting this all together for us. Really appreciate it, and, hope that, this is the start of a pretty good relationship that we have here. And, we did pretty well for our first run.
We decided we were going to formally offer you the position of producer, so we have the contract waiting after this. And we also have decided there will be some type of liquid payment for you coming, so you can look forward to that. I'd just like to take a moment to shout out cocoa butter. It's something that's positively impacted my life. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that really, seals in the moisture and like the nooks and crannies of your hands and like cocoa butter. So
I'm very, very underrated cocoa butter and his cousin Shay. Shout out Padmark. So Padmark, for those of you who don't know, is a former grocery store that supplied my food intake as a young child, and I was very sad to learn that it is no longer existed. And so I'm officially going to give Padmark the honor of being our first sponsor. You're welcome, Padmark, and thank you for the sponsorship.
Appreciate it. I think that sums it up pretty well.